Hello, I'm Annalouise, and today I'm going to be talking about deep rest. Maybe you want to take a breath with me right now before we start. We may think we know what helps us in receiving deep rest. What are the things that you feel help you really rest deeply? Maybe a hot bath, maybe you're relaxing on the sofa. I think I really only started to learn what deep rest was when I started to study bodywork, different forms of bodywork. When you start learning healing modalities, it's possible that we listen to the body in a different way. Certainly that was my experience, that I was listening for signs in other people's body and my body in a way that I wasn't aware of before. So in the past, I might have associated deep rest with a really good night's sleep, or perhaps relaxing on the sofa, whatever, fed me in that way. And now I feel I have a completely different relationship with deep rest, which deep rest for me is a bit like a healing state. It's where the body is in a place to receive so much and to be able to reconfigure itself on its own accord. It feels really heavy and restful, and it's like going into a bit of an altered state, really. And recognizing in others when they're on a table and I might be working with them, it may be seeing their eyes flutter and these deep, long breaths coming through the system. And energetically, there's a quality to it that one recognizes after a while. One can feel that someone's entering into that healing state. I want to talk about this because I feel as though it's something that's so important in modern society. I think often we're overstimulated and we've lost touch with how to help ourselves get into that really restorative place within our systems. What prompted this was that on Saturday I was with a group of friends. We were spending the day playing music, creating music together, and it was such fun. I was just absolutely in my joy. And so we'd got together at 11:30 and we'd been going since then we'd had lunch, then we'd done a bit more. And then mid-afternoon, my friend said, can we do a sound bath? And I totally wasn't expecting it because we'd planned to spend the whole day sort of more in kirtan type things, and I was like, yeah, sure. So everyone else lay on the ground and I gave them a sound bath. And I don't know whether you've ever experienced a sound bath, but that for me really takes me into a healing state, or it can do depending on how it's done. It can take me into a healing state. It's like, my brainwaves start changing. It's like deeply relaxing. I have consciousness, but there's like a profound relaxation in my body. So everyone was enjoying the sound bath, dropping into that deep place. And I finished the sound bath and I was like, I feel like we could go even deeper here into this relaxation. And so I invited everyone into like a group hug on the floor. So everyone just lying next to each other, like a group rest. I don't know, again, you may have tried this or you may not have tried it. It might sound a little odd if you haven't tried it. But my experience is that group resting, where everyone's just sort of lying next to each other, huddled up and like resting like just closed with closed eyes, is incredibly potent. It's like everyone's nervous systems like blend and relax together. And of course, in the past, we would have typically slept all in the same room, maybe in the one central room in the house with the fire, often huddled up for heat. It's a very natural way to rest. And yet, as we've moved into separate housing units and moved into separate bedrooms, we may be sleeping alone or possibly with one other, it's rarer to get these opportunities just to come together and rest, huddle together. And so we were all doing that, and it was just feels so good. Just like I could feel the layers dropping in my system, you know, like the layers of tension just like easing out, easing out, easing out. And every now and again we'd swap, so the people that were on the far edges would like come more into the centre. So everyone got the benefit of being completely surrounded by other human bodies. And then after that we started with our music again and carried on playing until right into the evening, fully restored. And I think that's the secret, isn't it, of living a full and replete life, is this ability to move into phases of being more active and then moving into phases of being more restful. And in a way, the bigger the extremes, maybe the more healthy we can become, because our bodies love physical activity, they love exercise, they love being used, and also they love this profound rest, this real deep rest, this what I call healing rest. So how might we give ourselves more of this healing rest? Maybe that you're already really familiar with it and it's something that you consciously bring into your life every day. Or it might be, what I'm saying might seem a little bit unusual and you're not quite familiar what the markers would be for you in your system to recognise that deep rest. Wherever you are, we can be open to learning and invite more things. So I invite you to share in the comments below what your experience is and any tips, any ideas. It's all so good to share together so that we can all benefit from restored rest, restorative rest. I'll go through a few tips from my perspective. I already named some. So one is this shared rest, this group rest. And you may feel a bit embarrassed about suggesting that. But honestly, my sense is that once the embarrassment has been got over, the benefits are so great and people are so appreciative. So maybe with a close group of friends or people you know well, you could try saying, should we just spend some time in shared rest? And you can lay yoga mats on the floor, if you've got carpets, that's all good, and see how it feels. So that's one. The second one that I highly recommend is having some sort of body work which has deep listening in its core. So I'm not talking about like a strong massage or techniques that have a stronger input. I'm talking about techniques which have a really open listening in consciousness. A listening which helps the body move into that healing state. And the one that is sort of most obvious in a way for me is a technique called cranial sacral, and particularly the stream of cranial sacral, which is biodynamic cranial sacral. So if you haven't tried it, maybe have a search for a biodynamic cranial sacral practitioner nearby or cranial sacral practitioner. As always with any modality, it's as much about the practitioner or more about the practitioner than the technique. And so looking for a practitioner that you feel you resonate with, that you find their vibration restorative and relaxing, that's not triggering for you, is perfect. So there we go, there's two. One, group rest, and secondly, biodynamic cranial sacral. And thirdly, for me, I find really deep meditation takes me to that place. So it's meditation without a process, just opening and deepening and relaxing. And the mind can go still. And this might take time to cultivate. One of my teachers, Swami Purohit, the practice that he recommends for all his students, and he's got thousands of students, is 20 minutes a day just in pure silence. No technique, just sitting in silence. And little by little, over a period of days and weeks and months, the mind can go more and more quiet, and it can become more of a profound state of relaxation. And then fourth tip is to get the contrast that I've talked about. So if we're able to do some lovely physical exercise, get some sunshine, like that day that I was with my friends, sing and be creating music together, the contrast in itself invites the body into, it's time to rest now. It's time to rest now. And the fifth one, is that 5? I think it is, but if I'm wrong, never mind. The fifth one is cultivating a deep sleep practice. How do you sleep? How is your sleep? Is it good? Is it not so good? Is it disturbed? Yeah. Sleep is an art form, I think, as much as anything else. And helping our body and our system get ready for sleep is so precious. Whether that is taking a bath in the evening, resetting our temperature a bit, making sure we haven't eaten too close to bedtime, we're not using screens, not being stimulated, all the things we know, right? We know, I think we all know what helps cultivate good sleep. Clearing our mind of things that are stressing us, maybe by writing them down or by meditating to clear some of our worries. All of those things feel good. And even having the intention before we sleep, may this sleep be deeply restorative and powerful. Yeah. The other day I did some relaxing yoga before going to bed. I don't know whether you've ever tried it. It's the yoga where you stay in poses for much longer and they're relaxing poses. So you might be in child's pose and you're just allowing the tension to come out of the body, layer on layer and layer and layer and layer. And it felt so good going to my bed directly after doing maybe about 15 minutes of relaxing yoga. The next one, breathing. Allowing our breathing to become long, smooth. You can do this with me. Feeling more air come into the lungs. Maybe taking a little pause at the bottom of the breath in that silent space. And at the top of the breath, I didn't take a pause because I was talking. So at the bottom of the breath, breathing in, pausing. And even with these couple of breaths that maybe you've taken with me, do you notice a difference in how you're feeling. So those are some of the things we can bring in our lives, and then of course there are other things that we can leave behind in our lives. So I talked right at the beginning about this, modern life it's stimulating, right? And it can be definitely overstimulating, whether that's reading too much bad news, looking too much at our screens, having too much stimulus in general, wanting to do too many things. That's one of my weaknesses and strengths. Yeah. Perhaps eating food that's not is stimulating, like caffeine and things that don't ground us and calm us. So we can take those out of our lives a little bit as well to encourage our systems into deep rest. So now I've talked about these different things, whether it's craniosacral therapy, whether it's shared rest, whether it's encouraging our deeper sleep, taking things out of our lives, all that type of thing. What comes into your awareness with what you've received from this little talk? What feels relevant to you? What would you like to cultivate more of? What would you perhaps like to remove a little bit from your life? And what's something that you feel that you can take away today? Maybe it's doing a little search for a craniosacral therapist online near to you, or contacting some friends for a group rest. Yeah, I think after every sound bath now, I'm gonna encourage people into a group rest. If you want to know more about me, I'm Annalouise. You can go to www.resonating.love. And if you've liked this video, please press like, and you can also subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. And you can share it, share the love, share the rest. The more we talk about these things, the more we can support each other, the more we can cultivate changes. It's so much easier to change when people around us are also changing. So do share it, and have a wonderful week of deep, profound rest, providing moments where our bodies can self-heal and restore themselves to balance. Happy day to you.